Right, I've started spoking the wheels. Now, I've done a lot basically because it's boring for you to watch, really. So what I've basically done is I built the hubs in the centre, as you can see with the, this isn't really focusing very well. So I built those, and I've also prepped the rim. So it means I've had to drill out all the holes around the rim with a 1mm drill. And now you've got to prep the spokes, because the spokes are they are partly bent, but not they're completely bent. So if you can see that, you get it like that out of the packet, which is sort of right angled, and you've got to turn it into that. You can see the difference. So they're more hooked, and that way they hook through the center there, and then they go through the rim. And how they hold each other in is they overlay one another. So the way it works is one goes down. Let's see if I can try and show you on there. So I can try and focus this better. So you get basically one faces down, and then the other one, the far along, faces up. So the one that faces up presses down on the one that faces down, and vice versa. The one that faces down presses on the one that faces up, and that way they stop them falling out on either way. So basically, I'm not going to go through the whole video doing this because it's just necessarily you'd be all asleep. But what I will do is I will video the stages of it doing it, but I probably won't talk. There's not really a lot to say really, but you basically, as you can see how those two go like that, you basically repeat it. So that one will overlay, and then the fourth one along will overlap that one, which will press this one in, and then it'll press the other. This one will press the top one in. So that's how basically it works. It's quite difficult to explain really, and it doesn't look when you've only got 3 spokes in. When you actually get more of them, and it actually starts to form that shape. And then what you basically do, I haven't got these in yet. I don't put these in while last. You see these ferrules like those. Those basically press in. Try and show you. So you see the little rivet that presses in. If you can see that, I'll try and get that to focus. So you see the rivet that basically pushes in on the inside, and then this is just a nightmare to video. Then it sticks through the inside of the rim, so you get like that spoke, the effect of the spoke, but it holds the spoke central. And then what you do, you glue you super glue on the inside of the rim, and that holds everything together. But that way it tightens up the spokes laterally then, so they can't move. They move around a little bit at the minute. That way a lot. But when you put your rivet in, it tightens everything up, and as you can see, you start to see how the wheel forms. But I don't necessarily put those in until I've got all the spokes in, and the reason for that is just in case I've got a spoke in wrong. Because you can lace it sometimes. If you have a bit of a mind melt, you can lace up the wheel wrong. So it's better to actually put the spokes in without putting those in. Then the last thing I'll do is I'll put those in, a quick check of the wheel, and then I'll super glue each one going in. So I will video parts of it, but it will just be bits of me doing it for the next bit. I'm not going to talk over it. I'm trying to just explain how each individual spoke goes in, and it will lace up the wheel. But as you get the first lacing in and then the second lacing in, you'll see the wheel and the spoking take shape. So from now on, you'll see me doing it, but you won't have any commentary. So any questions, just leave in the comments below. Right, as you can see, we've got the wheels together, got them out of the jigs. I'll put one tyre on one of you to see what the tyre looks like on both of them. You might notice the front wheel is obviously bigger than the rear, which is normally classic on old British bikes. So we've got all the rivets in the side. We've got them all around the edges. Now, the way I work with these, I don't know if it's a tip what some people will be doing a different way, but I generally put the spokes through the rim, and then I put the holders for the spokes, as you can see, and I don't glue them. So I'll do both sides, and then I will leave them unglued. And then once I take them out of the jig, one I will double check that each spoke is the right way around. So one goes one way and one goes the other. And then basically I'll glue them. I won't do that until I basically check the wheel over while it's unglued, because once you glue it, that's it. So you can't really get the spokes are in permanently then. You need to heavily glue them, although I do tack them initially. You do need to put quite a lot of glue around there, because you don't want these spacers to move, and you don't want the spoke to move inside the spacer, because what will happen is the center hub will move around inside, and you'll get an offset wheel. I'm not saying they're perfectly round, but it's a model. They're not gonna rotate. So it is important that you make sure when you take them out of the jig will keep them square in the center. When you do take them out, that they have squared off. So basically, when you take the actual physical of the jig off, just make sure that the wheels are actually the centers are in the center. And like I say, double check that your spokes are in the right way, because if you notice the spokes go in different directions, you spoke them differently either side. So on this side, the downward spokes go in this direction, and when you turn the rim over, the downward spokes go in that direction. And the way the spokes go in, they hold each other in, so one presses against one another, so one's pressing up and one's pressing down. So there's no way that in theory these spokes could actually come out. But just as a trick, because I don't want them to fall out, I do run some very thin super glue just around the edge of the spoke. And I sometimes do that. I'll do that initially before I put the centers in, before the outer centers in, and it just secures the spokes. Once I get this painted and primed, I don't want a spoke to move. So you don't have to do that, but I just do it anyway. It's only very, very thin super glue, and you can't really see it, and it's going to be painted over anyway. You know, the glue itself is virtually invisible. As you can see, you probably won't even be able to see it. But I do put a little splash on there just to do both. So after that, basically now they'll just go to one side until they go on the bike. And that's about it for spoken, really. I try to show as much as I can on the spoken, but it is quite difficult. The spoken can be a little bit testing on the old patience. Once you get going, it's not too bad, but the spokes look quite complicated. But when you break it down into individual how they fit, it does sort of work, but you need a lot of coffee and a calm mind and basically just patience. What I tend to do is, and this is why I haven't really recorded a lot, I'll come and do 2 or 3, leave off and do something else, and then just come back to it. This is a beauty. I've been able to leave the model out, so I'll do it over a day. So these wheels, although they've took me a couple of days to put together, but it's not just a constant 8 hours of putting together. I'll just do a few, and then I'll move on to something else. So I hope you've enjoyed basically what you've seen on the spoken. People ask me more about the spoken of the wheels than anything else, really, because they can't believe you actually have to spoke the wheels. You know, most kits tend to be, mag wheels. A lot of modern bikes are mag wheels, so spoke wheels are a little bit of a new thing to obviously have to do. But Model Factory Hiro, they do a good job of it. So both bikes that I've done, they've gone together okay. You've just got to think about it, because you can put a spoke in a wrong hole and things. It's not until you get to the end you've got 2 holes when you should have 1. And that way, you obviously got to pull them all out again and then start again. And that's why sometimes it's important is don't glue them. I know they tell you in the instructions to put them in, put the end in, put the spoke holder in, and glue it and trim it. You can do that if you think you're going to do it right first time, but I've made mistakes doing it, and I've done probably 2 or 3 Model Factory Hiro bikes. You sometimes just get it in the wrong hole. The holes are quite small, and it's looked like you're going into the next one, and you've missed a hole or you've gone too far. Now, if you glued that, especially into white metal, that is an absolute nightmare. And the other thing I've noticed is, well, didn't in this kit, there was no extra spokes. So you need 80 spokes. I think it was 80. You need 80 spokes, and they give you 80 spokes. So if you lose one, or if you bend one wrong, or if you damage one, you're either going to have to try and fix the damage or try and find some rodding which is the same, because they don't give you any extra, which surprises me sometimes on these, because they are easily things to lose, especially like the spoke centers. There was no extra ones of those either. Well, the ones in my kit anyway. There was enough to do the kit, and that was basically it. So just a word of caution before you actually glue them. I would double check and triple check before you put that glue on. Once you're happy, glue it. This might have a little bit more glue on this one. I think it's going to be okay. But then basically just obviously glue them in. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.